Welcome to a playoff edition of the Mercedes-Benz Rangers postgame show. And perhaps the Blue Shirts should petition the NHL to change the name from overtime to New York time. A Sunday in the park produces joy in the streets in New York City. For the fourth time in this postseason, the Rangers win in overtime, and they bring life to sudden death. Welcome inside our Delta MSG studios, everyone. John Giannone alongside Steve Valiquette. 5-4, Rangers win Game 3 over the Panthers in Sunrise, Florida, thanks to a goal from Alex Wennberg. Yes, Alex Wennberg, who was acquired for the stretch drive in the playoffs, Steve, and did not have a goal as a Ranger until now.
He was the net front guy looking for screened deflections when he was in Seattle. That's part of the reason why he landed here in New York, to have a backup plan if Kreider may not be available. He showed you why he has that ability to be able to make a deflection while screening the goalie. It's a skill, and I oftentimes say this, it's as valuable as a breakaway, that play. It doesn't look like it, but it is. It goes in as frequently. The fact that the Rangers were able to hang on through all of that puck retrieval hell that they were in the O-zone. It was so hard for so long for the Rangers just to have life, but if not for Shesterkin, they're not at this point in overtime to be able to go this way. Just needed one shot, John. They needed one chance. They needed one opportunity at the net where you see Wennberg get behind coverage and he's alone. And sometimes in D-zone coverage, when you're down a man, you let your goalie have the guy all alone. But for whatever reason, Florida leaves net front altogether, and Wennberg's allowed to have time without any obstruction from a Florida player to get under his stick or to box him out, and virtually no chance for Bobrovsky here as another puck goes in over his shoulder. But you have to go back to the reasons why you got here in the first place, and if it's not for Igor's heroics, you don't end up there and have an opportunity.
Steve, how does a team win in overtime? How does a team win at all when the shot attempt totals are 108 to 44 against? Yeah. The answer is, you just said Igor Shesterkin.
It was absurd. The goaltending was absurd. It was chance to win hockey. And when you're a goalie at his level, you know where your level is. Now you're just trying to keep it through all the stress and through all the physical pain that you're going through, because for every shot attempt, Igor has to get into his crouch. He still has to get down to make a save, and if you're up and down over 100 times in a game, when you get into overtime, you've lost a step. But he seems to gain one the longer you go in this game. He was explosive east to west. He was able to track out of his reverse right here, and you see that bump out off the post. That's why he's able to grab depth from his knees, which is a very unique skill that he has. And I thought he controlled the puck really well. The shot attempts could have been worse if pucks were coming off of him. Not the case. He was amazing in this game, and it's just another performance that we've seen from him, and his legend is growing. 34 saves for Igor Shesterkin. Outstanding on the day. Most likely would be one of the 3 stars, even though he gave up 4 and allowed 2 in the third period. That's how good he was in enabling the Rangers to come back and win this game. Yeah. It would have been a game had the third period not occurred, where the headline would have been a good laugh, because Barclay Goodrow and Alexis Lafrenière each had 2 goals for the Rangers for their 4 in the 60 minutes of regulation. And let the record show, Steve, Barclay Goodrow, as we speak, has twice as many playoff goals as Connor McDavid. That's a great stat. Great stat.
6-3.
Great stat.
Yeah.
When you talk about Barclay, right, and you want to get to know him, you have to pick up a few of his quotes from when he signed with the Rangers in 22, because he knows who he is. He knows what his leadership qualities are, and he knows how to help the team win. He says it. He says it himself. I know what it takes to win at this level at this time of year, and I believe him, because he is in every spot talking about screened deflections again. It's Goodrow and Rempe in front screening Bobrovsky on his first of the night. And on his second, it's a shorthanded goal where you're trying to buy time down the ice, as Trocheck does. And I'm thinking to myself, he should just eat the puck. And he passes it out into the slot area for a beautiful one-timer, John. Take it away.
Yeah, and then the celebration in Central Park at the viewing party. And what a day it was again for the Rangers' fourth liner, Barclay Goodrow, because, again, it's worth remembering, he had 4 goals in the entire regular season in which he played 81 games. He is our Montefiore Einstein Rangers Player of the Week because he should be. He had 2 today for his first multi-goal game. He's got 3 goals in his last 2, 6 as we talked about. Rangers now have 5 shorthanded goals in this postseason. That's 3 more than any other team. And Barclay Goodrow is a deserved Montefiore Einstein Rangers Player of the Week.
You talk about the reasons why the Rangers had success in the first part of the game. And it was because of the way that they challenged at the red line. They were able to get the puck in deep. And this is a goal that's an example for everyone because you're reading the play and you've got size from your depth players here on the fourth line. Everybody's in on the forecheck. You're able to get a puck back from unsettled offense because you had a great dump. You had a great push on the forecheck, and then you had a second reload where the Rangers now can go low to high. Goodrow is reading the play, is going to the point. I'm going to go right to the net. Rempe knows he's got to be there as well. So when Schneider gets this one through, it's a 2-on-1 for the Rangers against one Florida defenseman that has a hard time being able to defend. Rempe can't get any support and get under Goodrow's stick as the second checker. That, to me, is Ranger hockey in zone specifically for lines 3 and 4. And if lines 1 and 2 can bring some of that as well, that heavy play is going to help because they just didn't draw enough attention in the middle of the ice at 5-on-5. The Panthers outplayed the Rangers at 5-on-5 badly because they didn't play that way or weren't able to sustain it long enough. It was hard, but I'll tell you, it's, you know, the challenging thing in this series, John, it's going to be playing against Florida's puck retrieval game. The Rangers saw it against Carolina, but now you're seeing it the same way against a heavier team. Florida is the heaviest team in the offensive zone, and that game, it was on a wire the entire afternoon into, what time is it, John? It's
into the evening,
it's nighttime.
Well, that was the good part, the 2 goals from Barclay Goodrow. The laugh part, how about Alexis Lafrenière? He scores the goal to make it 1-1 in the first period, then scores a goal that makes it 3-2 late in the second period, Steve, that I think we're going to see on replay in our minds and on video for a long time.
I jumped out of my skin on that one because, look, like there's highlight goals during the regular season where the checking is a little looser and it's not as tight as it is right now. And Lafrenière on his very first one, I was saying to myself, great that it was Lafrenière because he had 3 goals during the regular season on breakaways, which was most of any Ranger. He went 3 for 13 in the regular season. So I'm saying to myself, okay, that's the guy I want to get breakaways. We've been talking about this during the series, and he has a breakaway earlier in the shift that he gets his second breakaway goal. And then he goes for it. This is at the end of his shift.
Toe drag backhand.
End of the shift. Toe drag backhand. 1 against 3. It's 1 against 3. And he challenges everybody and beats Bobrovsky. So 1 against 4. Oh my goodness. New York is just outside of themselves at this point.
And you should react after a goal like that because now Alexis Lafrenière goals 5 and 6, and those were the goals that accounted for the Rangers 4 in regulation time, 3 at 5-on-5, and 1 other shorthanded, that one from Barclay Goodrow. When you look at that shot attempt disparity and you look at the fact that the Rangers are up 2-1 in the series, how do you make heads or tails of where they are right now?
As a player, you know the ice was tilted. You know you got away with 1. You know you have to be better. And at the same point, you just got a split. That's all you had to go to Florida and get was a split. You got it in the first one in a game that you probably shouldn't have won, to be fair. But you know it. You're not being fooled by the score. You're not being fooled by the outcome. They know they're going to have to be faster, stronger, cleaner in their own zone. They have to minimize Florida's time in their D zone because it's harder to defend. It took a lot out of Igor Shesterkin in this game. It's all about recovery right now for everybody because that was a taxing defensive performance that you just spent too much time in your own zone. That's why you took 6 minors. You take 6 penalties because you're hooking, holding, and reaching, and you're not defending with your legs because you're gassed. And I know what that's like as a goalie. You're in your crouch the entire time. You're assessing the situation. It takes a lot out of you. And I know that that's going to take a lot out of Igor the longer this series goes. So winning the day after tomorrow, that could help. A shorter series would be helpful for Igor. But this is no easy team to play against. They had a lot of free passes, Florida did, off the cycle in the D zone, being able to come out and get free looks on Shesterkin.
You know who had 2 assists in the game today? Ryan Lindgren. You know who assisted primarily on the goal by Alex Wennberg? Ryan Lindgren. It was his point shot that saw its way through for a 5-4 overtime win for the Rangers. That's where we begin the post-game dressing room sound with the Rangers defenseman, Ryan Lindgren.
Just a classic example of hanging in there and finding a way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they obviously had their push there in the third. I thought for the first 2 we played pretty well. But yeah, they came out flying in the third. They ended up tying it up. We kind of got out of that third period, and then the overtime started. We regrouped, and like you said, just found a way to win.
Ryan, take me through your emotions of this team, second straight overtime win.
Yeah, it's exciting. Anything can happen in overtime, and guys are making plays and getting pucks to the net, and yeah, obviously it's stressful out there, but obviously a lot of fun when you see it go in.
Speaking of making plays, just take me through your play.
Yeah, just a face-off play. Rosie made a great play off the wall there. He just slid it back to me, and I just tried to throw it to the net, and obviously Wenny going there and making a great tip on it. So yeah, that was huge.
How do you hang in there? You have a 4-2 lead, and you still find a way to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, they had quite the push there in the third, and we sat back a little bit too much, but yeah, you just got to hang in there and regroup after that period, and our leaders are vocal and stepping up, and we felt good going into overtime.
Guys were vocal. They felt good going into overtime. Maybe that defies logic given the way the third period went, because the number I think I saw was 41 shot attempts to 10 in the third period. Rangers went the last 8 minutes of the third without a shot. But there's that resilience we talk about with this team, that just when you think, all right, this is the time it's going to end up not being the way the Rangers want it to be, it still is.
I know.
Because they still have the fortitude to understand that third period. We aren't losing. We didn't lose. Now let's go out and win.
John, what about you're the line of the night. After the first period, you said, I feel like the Rangers are losing 2-2.
Yeah.
And it felt that way. Yeah. The game never felt like the Rangers had ownership over it. That wasn't the case. But miraculously, they find a way. They just do. There's a deep will there that they're able to shine off on. And I thought that after they got out of the second period, and then you get into a 4-2 game, and you're kind of saying to yourself, all right, are they going to be able to close this? Florida comes back. I even thought first puck drop of overtime was a little bit dicey, giving up a 2-on-1 right away. 10 seconds in. You're kind of saying to yourself, oh, I thought they'd come out sharper. But sometimes in hockey, it's a one-shot game, and that was a night like this one.
Oftentimes after games, Barclay Goodrow is measured and insightful. Let's hear what he had to say after this 5-4 Ranger overtime win.
It doesn't seem like you lose your poise at all as a team.
Yeah, I think it's just the structure that it's kind of been instilled in us all year by Lavi and the coaching staff, and I think we have kind of a no panic mentality that has we've kind of relied on like in those moments when we're under siege. But yeah, obviously it's might get ugly at some times, and guys had to block some shots. Chester made some huge saves, and in the end, win's a win.
Might this just be a counter-punching series for you guys? I mean, with the shot total the other way and what you guys had to do to find a way. Is that how this is setting up to a degree? Especially even the way you battled back from game one when they had sort of more dominance there. The way you fought back. Is it sort of a counter-punching mentality, or does it just wind up playing out that way?
I have no idea. I think each game brings its own storyline, and obviously, them being down 2 goals, they're gonna have a push in the third period, which they did, and we did a good job in managing that, and settling down, and just find a way to win it in OT.
Because of all the situations.
Barclay Goodrow saying he has no idea whether the Rangers have a counter-puncher mentality. I can tell you in Game 3, they did.
You know what else, too, we haven't talked about? This takes a little wind out of Florida's sails, too. They threw everything at them, and this is what we get. This is when Florida starts to question, are we shooting a little bit too much? Do we need to make better plays? Do we have to have more quality time in the offensive zone and not just give pucks to the net, which I'm sure they're questioning because it hasn't worked yet. And if you can get one more there, then it's, it's pretty much curtains, I'd say, for the Rangers being able to close it out at home. But getting a split to start, John, this was the outcome that the Rangers needed.
4 overtimes, 4 overtime wins for the Rangers, 4 viral moments on the MSG Radio Network. Here is how Don LaGreca and Dave Maloney called the winner by Alex Wennberg.
Wennberg will take the face-off to the right of Bobrovsky. Rodriguez will take it for the Panthers off the possession. Kulikov has it up the near wall, but the Rangers have it. Gustafsson with a heave on and score! Emeo is off to something in front, but the Rangers score in overtime, and they take a 2-1 series lead with a 5-4 win.
I'll tell you, folks, in all honesty, call the cops. There was a robbery here lately, and the Rangers win the hockey game 5-4 in overtime.